Welcome to another episode of Mastering Cybersecurity, developed by baremetalcyber.com. Let's dive in. Data loss prevention, DLP, is a set of tools and practices that help an organization stop sensitive information from leaving controlled environments without authorization. Data loss means information is gone from the organization's control, while data leakage describes information drifting into places it should not be, even inside company systems. Data exfiltration is the deliberate removal of information by a person, malware, or an external attacker who bypasses normal controls. These terms are related but useful because they point to different causes and different fixes. The goal of DLP is to prevent all three outcomes by understanding the information that matters, watching the channels where it could travel, and applying predictable responses before harm is done. A beginner can think of DLP as careful bouncers, policy signs, and emergency stop buttons placed along every hallway that sensitive data could walk through. Every organization moves through a simple data life cycle that defines when DLP can help most. Information is created, stored, used, shared, archived, and eventually destroyed, and each stage has common risks and common controls. DLP often describes three operating conditions called data at rest, data in motion, and data in use, which map to storage locations, network paths, and active work on devices. Structured data lives in databases and spreadsheets, while unstructured data lives in documents, presentations, images, and chat messages. DLP works differently with each type because structured data has defined fields, while unstructured data hides meaning inside free text and formats. A clear map of these stages and types guides which sensors to deploy and which responses to expect. DLP policies translate business promises into precise detection rules and clear actions. Many policies use regular expressions to match structured numbers like credit cards, alongside keyword dictionaries that capture context words such as patient, invoice, or confidential. Proximity and context checks improve precision by requiring sensitive patterns to appear near business markers, names, or document properties. File type filters focus effort on likely carriers, such as spreadsheets, archives, and screenshots, while ignoring harmless formats that rarely hold secrets. Severity levels and thresholds let a program respond proportionally, such as allowing a business process with a coaching message while blocking clear violations. Good policies read like simple sentences that define who, what, where, and when a rule should fire. Content-aware techniques strengthen matching by anchoring rules to real organizational data. Exact data matching compares outgoing content against hashed values from approved datasets, which is helpful for payroll numbers or customer lists. Document fingerprinting creates unique signatures for sensitive templates or contracts, allowing detection even after format changes, small edits, or translations. Partial and statistical matching help when only fragments appear, such as a few rows from a report, or when text is noisy due to copy and paste artifacts. These techniques reduce false positives because they rely less on generic patterns and more on your actual content. They also enable narrower exceptions that preserve business workflows without weakening protection across unrelated areas. Endpoint DLP focuses on data in use on laptops and desktops where people perform daily work. Agents watch sensitive operations like copy and paste, screen capture, printing, and saving to external drives, because those actions often create new and less controlled copies. Policies can block, allow with a warning, force encryption to removable media, or request justification that is stored for later review. Strong products handle offline use, tamper resistance, and performance limits, because controls must not break normal work. Printing to file, virtual printers, and screen capture tools are important channels that need specific attention during testing. Endpoint visibility often reveals unexpected habits, which can guide awareness materials that change behavior without heavy enforcement. Network DLP inspects data in motion across email, web uploads, and file transfer channels where information can depart quickly. Email gateways scan messages and attachments, web proxies examine form submissions and uploads, and file transfer monitors watch common protocols used by automation or legacy tools. Encrypted traffic presents a central challenge because transport layer security hides content from inspection, which is desirable for privacy but difficult for control. Programs choose controlled decryption at defined inspection points, selective bypass for sensitive destinations, or rely on detections at endpoints that see clear text before encryption. Clear policies explain which traffic can be decrypted, where keys are protected, and how audit logs are kept to preserve trust. Together, these decisions balance privacy, performance, and risk in a transparent way. Cloud and software as a service require DLP where collaboration happens, not only where networks route. Cloud file storage, document co-authoring, chat, and enterprise email all expose sharing controls that can send information to external parties with a single click. Integrations with cloud-native labeling and protection features help carry classifications and encryption across services and devices. Application Programming Interface connected controls can scan existing repositories at rest, while inline controls apply checks during uploads or sharing events. A Cloud Access Security Broker, CASB, often coordinates these patterns by enforcing policies across multiple providers with a single set of rules. Effective designs treat Cloud DLP as a partner to collaboration rather than a barrier to productivity. An end-to-end incident workflow turns detections into consistent and teachable outcomes. Alerts should be enriched with user identity, device details, classification labels, and small redacted excerpts that reviewers can understand without exposing full content. First-level triage confirms the match and business context, then decides on release, coaching, or escalation based on policy and history. User coaching messages explain why the action was risky and suggest safe alternatives, which reduces repeat events and builds shared vocabulary. Temporary blocks and holds can delay transfers until a reviewer approves, which protects timelines and lowers friction compared to permanent denials. Ticketing and audit trails ensure every decision is recorded, which supports later reporting, trend analysis, and regulator questions. Governance aligns DLP with laws, standards, and organizational accountability rather than treating it as a standalone technology. Programs should map policies to obligations from the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA, and the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, PCI-DS, along with any contractual promises. Roles and responsibilities should name executive sponsors, security operations reviewers, data owners, privacy officers, legal counsel, and human resources partners. Objectives can include measurable reductions in exposed records, faster review times, and improved user understanding of acceptable methods for sharing. Review boards can examine exception requests, quarterly reports, and proposed rule changes with documented approvals. This structure keeps decisions transparent, consistent, and able to withstand audits and leadership transitions. Privacy, ethics, and legal boundaries must be designed into DLP from the beginning. Transparency and consent notices explain what is monitored, what is not, who can see alerts, and how long information is retained for investigations. Regional rules, such as the California Consumer Privacy Act, CCPA, and Works Council requirements may restrict monitoring features or demand consultation and safeguards. Data minimization applies here as well, meaning collect only the alert details needed to make a decision, and avoid reading irrelevant personal content whenever possible. Role-based access to DLP consoles prevents unnecessary exposure of sensitive user information among administrators and reviewers. These choices protect people and trust while still allowing the program to deliver real risk reduction. A practical rollout plan helps DLP succeed without disrupting essential work. Leaders choose pilot groups with clear use cases and engaged managers, such as finance teams that handle invoices or customer service teams that manage identity verification. Deployment usually begins with monitor-only modes to learn traffic patterns, then gradually introduces warnings, holds, and blocks as confidence increases. Sequencing by channel, such as endpoints first, then email, then cloud repositories, keeps troubleshooting simpler and lessons transferable. Awareness training explains why policies exist, what messages mean, and how to request exceptions with enough context for quick approvals. Clear success measures like incident volume, repeat event rates, review times, and business satisfaction keep attention on outcomes rather than tools. Well-maintained DLP programs evolve through routine hygiene and shared accountability rather than one-time projects. Teams document rule ownership, data source inventories, classifier training routines, and required evidence for reviews and approvals. Regular tabletop exercises test response steps when sensitive information is detected leaving through new channels, which builds muscle memory. Integration with identity systems, device management, and change management ensures rules stay aligned with who people are and what tools they use. Vendor updates and content pack reviews add new identifiers for emerging data types, such as new national identifiers or industry-specific codes. These habits turn DLP into a dependable guardrail that adapts alongside the organization's real work. Security Operations Center, SOC, integration makes DLP part of the wider defense picture. Centralized logging and alerting allow correlation between DLP detections, authentication anomalies, endpoint alerts, and unusual network behavior that might indicate coordinated activity. Playbooks define when SOC analysts should open an incident, notify data owners, or coordinate with legal and privacy for sensitive cases. Automation can apply consistent holds, request justifications, and gather context from endpoints or cloud services without waiting for manual steps. Metrics across the SOC and the DLP program reveal where training helps most and where policy clarifications reduce avoidable escalations. This collaboration ensures data protection signals inform broader threat investigations and business risk decisions. Third-party relationships deserve dedicated DLP attention because data often flows to vendors and partners. Contract language should state labeling expectations, allowed channels, encryption requirements, and incident reporting timelines for shared information. Technical controls can restrict external shares to approved domains, require watermarking for downloaded documents, and log unusual download volumes from partner accounts. Periodic reviews of access lists, transfer paths, and exception tickets catch drift that accumulates during long projects. When vendors provide their own DLP capabilities, coordinated tests and common severity definitions help keep alerts consistent and actionable. These steps extend the program's reach beyond the company boundary without creating unmanageable complexity. Reporting turns everyday enforcement into leadership insight and continuous improvement. Dashboards that separate accidental mistakes from intentional violations help set the right tone for coaching, consequences, and investments. Trends over weeks and quarters reveal whether awareness messages are working, whether controls are too tight in certain areas, or whether new business activities demand policy updates. Heat maps by department, channel, and data type highlight where to focus pilots and where to celebrate progress. Executives appreciate short narratives that link policy changes to measurable results with clear before and after comparisons. Consistent reports make DLP less mysterious and more obviously aligned with real organizational goals. DLP outcomes strengthen when technology is paired with clear norms and simple alternatives. Teams that provide secure ways to share files, request temporary access, or send approved external communications see fewer policy violations because people are not forced to improvise. Standard templates, labeled repositories, and easy encryption tools remove friction from doing the right thing, which improves culture over time. Regular reminders that emphasize purpose rather than blame help people see DLP as protection for customers, colleagues, and intellectual property. Mature programs also review disciplinary paths to ensure fairness and proportional responses where intent matters. These social elements often deliver the largest improvement for the least technical effort. A good DLP program keeps data at home by recognizing sensitive content, watching critical pathways, and responding in measured and understandable ways. It operates across data at rest, in motion, and in use through endpoint, network, and cloud controls that match real collaboration patterns. It performs best when discovery, classification, policy design, tuning, governance, and privacy are treated as one connected system rather than isolated projects. It stays effective through careful rollout, routine review, clear reporting, and close integration with incident response teams. With these habits in place, organizations reduce preventable exposure and keep trust with the people who depend on their services. Continuous attention turns DLP from a reactionary tool into a steady guide for everyday work. Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.